to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And today, the same topic came up in both of my meetings, and that means all signs are pointing to we're going to talk about traveling and sobriety. And this idea that sticks out to me that I kept hearing people say is nobody would know, right? If I'm off on a business trip or I'm going to visit family, I'm in an airport by myself, nobody would know if I drank, and that's something that I encountered that was very much the difference between me relapsing and not relapsing. Actually, that is exactly what went through my mind before I relapsed the last time when I started drinking again for another 8 months. And this was the drinking I did between my two detox stays. So I want to talk about that and how what my experience was with it and how that mindset shifted for me in the current sobriety that I'm in. So traveling in sobriety, especially early on, can be really stressful. And it can be really challenging and it can feel risky, especially when you're early on. I traveled to San Diego. I think I was like 4 months sober or something like that, 4 or 5 months sober. We can probably calculate it. It might have been more than that, maybe like 8 months. You love when I do that. Anyway, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. But I was in my first year. How about that? And I was scared because airports were massive triggers for me. And I know a lot of alcoholics who travel, it is a massive trigger. It's just what you do when you travel. If you're an alcoholic, you hang out at the bar and you meet lots of people and it's just, I can't even explain it. It's like the airport itself is a vacation. That's what it felt like to me. So I want to talk about a few strategies and some planning to help you navigate airports, layovers, staying in a hotel with a bar, how to handle mealtime. I'll share with you an experience that I had that many of you have probably heard already. And just talk about how going through these firsts were what helped me get more and more committed to my sobriety. So traveling in sobriety begins with preparation. It begins and ends with preparation. The key is to plan ahead so that you can handle potential triggers. Depending on your level of, I don't know how to say it, like fear or thinking, your spiritual fitness, I think, depending on your spiritual fitness, you may need to plan really much more than you normally would. So I'm going to talk about these various levels. And if you think that, oh, that's just too much, I don't need to do all that, like I can get through an airport without drinking, fine. This is for people, this can be for people as well that really just are afraid to even walk through the airport. Like, do not think that they will be able to walk by a bar without stepping inside it. So number one, getting to the airport, navigating the airport, get organized. stress can be a gigantic trigger. So reducing that stress by getting organized, and that starts before you even get to the airport. Usually for me, traveling, going on an airplane for me meant that I was packing my bag be the night before. And I mean, I've always been the type of person that like puts together my outfits for flying, but I just really like packed it all in there. And I was organized. I was what I thought was organized, until I watched my husband pack for a trip and I realized I'm not even close to being organized. And I actually have a friend of mine who travels a lot. She lives to go on vacations. You know who you are if you're listening. And I would love to see what her suitcase looks like before she goes on a vacation, because it's probably just crazy organized. So my husband will actually roll his clothes. He can't be the only one, and I can't be the only one who didn't know that this was such a great idea. I feel like there are gnats or something in here. You know what I bet they are? From my terrarium. That's what I bet they're from. Oh dear. I'll have to address that. But he rolls up his shirts and his shorts and everything, and that eliminates wrinkles. So if you lay everything out flat and then maybe fold it once or fold it in whatever, however you would fold it and then roll it up, it reduces the wrinkles. So that's super cool. Anyway, I'm talking about that level of organization. It's the feeling inside like you have got your ducks in a row, you've got your shit together. That is important for me. It's important to just feel like it is just going to be a seamless trip. I've got my stuff organized. There's just going to be I don't have to think. I don't have to make any decisions while I'm traveling. The less decisions I can make, the better, because there's one big decision that I have to stay focused on, and that is to not pick up a drink. So that's why I'm talking about having this greater level of organization. Arriving early to the airport may feel like it's risky because you've got more time on your hands and you're afraid you're going to go to a bar. But we'll talk about what can you do when you arrive early. But arriving early is all part of that. It's not the waiting part of the arriving early. It's the keeping the stress level down from beginning to end, from the time that you wake up and you are headed into the airport. Like you just know that everything's just going to go seamlessly. For me, that just makes me feel like I'm in control. And that's really what I need to feel like when I walk by a bar in the airport. I am in control. That beer at the bar is not going to jump out from the bar and throw itself down my throat as I'm walking through the airport, because that's what it used to. That's the level of like stress I used to feel, the fear I used to feel about drinking, that I wasn't even in control of drinking, that I didn't have a choice. That's what it felt like. So as much as I can feel like I'm in control when I'm traveling, the better. So also having phone numbers at the ready. So making sure that you have various support people, whether it's friends, family, people in your support network that know that you're traveling, know your schedule of when you're traveling, when you're going to be going through security, when you'll be on the other side of security, and even maybe calling somebody right when you get through security and say, hey, I'm through security now. I'm going to walk to my gate. Will you walk with me? They're on the phone. And that way you have somebody to talk to while you're walking to the gate. So you're not feeling as alone. And then another level of planning would be if you're traveling to an airport or from an airport that you've never been in before, actually pulling up the airport map and the gate map to figure out what is the best way for you to walk. Where are the possible restaurants, bars, triggers that are going to be around you? And being prepared for that, just being prepared, knowing that, okay, I'm going to be walking by a bar right here, but look, there's a store that I can stop at and get some drinks, you know, some non-alcoholic drinks for my flight. Which leads me to the next thing. Okay, so stay organized. Next is drinks, 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 drinks. As much as you can stay hydrated, number one, but also have drinks you would enjoy available. So if you like Coca-Cola or lemonade or tea or whatever those beverages are, sparkling water. I drank a crap load of sparkling water when I got sober. That's so funny. I don't really drink it anymore. I guess I'm out of that phase, but who knows? It might come back again. I go in and out of phases of what beverages I like. But sparkling water, whatever it is that strikes your fancy when you're traveling, because that just helps uh, with irritability and discomfort when you're walking by a bar. Having a drink that you actually enjoy in your hand, like I'll drink a Coca-Cola any day of the week that I'm walking by a bar and be happy. That's how much I love my Coca-Cola. But I could also walk by a bar with a hot fudge sundae in my hand, but that's not available usually in airports. Not to say that they're not, but this type of preparation, or that's kind of like what you're doing while you're at the airport, will help to reduce cravings because you've got access to the things um, that you need, your basic needs, because the last thing you want to do is actually be thirsty, dehydrated. And man, airports make me thirsty. They really do. Okay, next would be to bring snacks. So this is going to help you to avoid temptation by having to go to a bar or a restaurant that serves alcohol. And I am the first one to say that when I'm off leaving in the morning from, to go to the airport, I don't like to eat breakfast right when I wake up. So typically by the time I get to the gate, I'm hungry. And so, buying somebody else's food is always tastier than packing my own. But I need to avoid going into restaurants that have bars. So if you can, again, look at your gate map and see, is there like a Subway right by your gate or something? That's great. Is there a Starbucks if you like that kind of thing? Or just pack some healthy snacks, and that will avoid the temptation of needing to stop. The less that you can expose yourself to having to make that decision not to drink, the better. Then we're sitting at the gate, right? And we're early now. So what do we do at the gate? Well, obviously, get distracted, bring yourself some tools, get on the phone and call somebody. I have lots of people that call me from gates. And it's a good time to talk, actually. And it makes the time go by faster also sitting at the gate. But there's lots of Recovery Daily podcast episodes you can listen to. Bring a book you can hold, or a Audible book, listen to music, whatever you need to entertain yourself and truly distract yourself, something that you can get absorbed in. Sometimes it's hard to do, but I like to find quiet corners of airport gates. There are times that I like to be right in the middle and I'm people watching, but if I actually have to be there for a longer time, it's kind of nice to go sit in my own little area and stretch out. And I feel a lot more relaxed if I just stay away from other people's drama that may be going on in the airport. So that is similar to a layover. Like when you get there early, if you're there for over an hour or so, that's a great opportunity to walk around and tour the airport. It's some good exercise, and that physical activity can also release some of those happy chemicals and just steer you a little more away from cravings. And I was talking to my psychiatrist today because it's Wednesday, and I was thinking about how it takes more energy to create a positive thought than a negative thought. So let's just say I'm sitting in the airport and I have a layover, an unexpected layover, and I'm feeling like my sobriety is at risk because I'm sitting in an airport longer than I expected. It's difficult, I think, when we're in a situation that is unplanned and it's negative. It's difficult to conjure up a positive thought. Right? It takes a lot of energy to create a positive thought. But what I was thinking about when I was talking to my psychiatrist is that it actually, however, takes more energy to stay in the negative thought than to stay in the positive thought, if that makes sense. So you can either sit there at the gate spending a lot of unnecessary energy staying in the negative thought and risking your sobriety more because you're not balanced, or you can do the next right thing, get up on your feet and start taking a walk. Don't forget to take your suitcase with you. But and then that, it's almost like momentum. It's easier to stay in that positive thought. Again, pick up the phone. Like, I can't stress that enough. Pick up the phone when you don't know what to think or what to do. Just pick up the phone and make sure that you've got several phone numbers, quite a few phone numbers of people. Like, get your whole book out of AA phone numbers, or whatever sobriety program that you use. If your layover is long enough for you to leave the airport, I recommend going online and looking for a support group or AA or sobriety meeting in the city where the airport is. It's really cool. I haven't done it because I haven't been in a place where I had time to go to an AA meeting, but I hear that it's really cool to just travel to, some people make it a thing to create a list of as many different cities that they got to go to an AA meeting in. And they're all over the world. So wherever you're traveling, like drop in on an AA meeting. It's super cool. I do have a lot of people that are traveling that come into our AA meetings, but I personally have not been able to travel and go to an AA meeting. But from what I hear, it sounds awesome. So that's a great opportunity to maybe meet other travelers who are also sharing your commitment to sobriety. And you'll find support in unexpected places only if you open your mouth and use your voice and seek support. One thing that I encountered when I was in San Diego, and I was in the restaurant. So again, I was like 8 months sober or something like that, an indeterminate amount. I was under a year, and my bar had a hotel in it. Nope, my hotel had a bar in it. I actually caught that one. So one thing that you can do is ask for a room that is not near the bar or doesn't require you to walk by the bar. That's usually not possible. From the hotels that I've been in, they make it so that you have to walk by the bar. That's the point. So again, make a plan so that you don't feel tempted. That might be you pick up the phone again. You'll notice a trend there. You pick up the phone again and call a friend every time you walk into the hotel so that you can walk up to your room and feel, that you're good to go. You're not alone. Also, you could log into an online meeting or use a meditation app. Anything that makes you feel like you're not alone in your head. That's my goal when I'm traveling or when I'm out there is I guess I just realized I don't do any traveling anymore right now, at least, but I liked to make sure that I was engaged with something outside of myself. And when you are in your hotel room, I think the most important thing that I can tell you here is that you can call room service or the front desk and have them remove all of the alcoholic beverages if you have a room that has a stocked kitchen or stocked refrigerator. So they will remove them for you. And I think that that is critical to do that. But once in your room, also make sure that you have it stocked up with your own non-alcoholic beverages and snacks that you love. I just really find a lot of happiness in exploring all of the snacks and beverages that are available to people that don't have alcohol in them. I know it sounds bizarre, but I never explored all the things that are available. I was only interested in what had alcohol in it. And there are some pretty awesome things out there, and they can be healthy or they can be not healthy. I am vegan. That doesn't mean I'm healthy, but I do try to eat a plant-based diet that is on the healthier side. So when I want something like a Coke or I want Oreos, which we have a whole 2 weeks of Oreos, I've been eating Oreos, or whatever it is that I want. within reason, I will indulge myself. So stock your room. It's always safe for me to eliminate the need to leave my room after dinner or when I come back from whatever it is, if it's a work trip or whatever. It's best for me to kind of lock myself in, or if I'm gonna leave my room, go down to the gym, go down to the pool. I have done that as well. And that's a great way to, again, get those happy chemicals moving and enjoy hotel amenities because they're a part of what you're paying to stay there. Okay, so meal time when you're traveling. Um, this was my biggest challenge on my last day of my trip in San Diego. And I've told you guys about this, but I talk about it all the time because it's such a significant, uh, pivotal point of my sobriety when my work responsibilities were over with for the week that I had gone to San Diego, or sorry, San Francisco, and my coworkers were done and they had gone off to go party with their friends, and I was alone and I needed to eat dinner. And so I set out of my hotel and decided to just walk until I found someplace I wanted to eat. Well, I didn't get but maybe a quarter of a block before I started thinking nobody would know. Nobody would know. And I was really planning. I was planning how, okay, how would this work if nobody would know? So, but I kept having, it was like I had evil Rachel on my right shoulder and Angel Rachel on my left shoulder, and they were arguing through my ears. And one was saying nobody would know, and the other one was saying, you're not supposed to think that. That's why you drank the last time. Nobody would know right now, but they're gonna know when you can't stop and you miss your plane. That has happened to me. Um, at least one time. I'm not sure if it happened a couple times. But so I just kept walking. I was afraid to stop because these two Rachels were arguing, arguing between my ears, and they just kept yelling back and forth. And I just kept walking. And I was like, well, the best thing I can do as the neutral Rachel in the middle is to, and I don't know if something just happened to my microphone. Hopefully it's been working the whole time, but I'm getting little messages. So neutral Rachel just kept walking. Like as long as I don't have to make a decision, I just keep walking. So nothing, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And that's the positive side of that. If I don't trust myself, um, then don't change anything. Just keep doing whatever it is I'm doing. Usually we talk about if nothing changes, meaning if, things are bad in my life, I need to make a change in order for those things to change. That's usually the context that I'm using that in. But in the other, looking at it the other way, one of the reasons why I do similar things each day, like I wake up and go to my 7 a.m. meeting, I walk my dogs, I do this, I do that. One of the reasons why I have this, I'm such a creature of habit, is because I know that I stayed sober yesterday by doing the things that I did. So I'm going to be very similar today. And it doesn't mean that I don't try new things. I try new things all the time. now, but in the beginning, I really was like Groundhog Day, because I just kept thinking, if I do the same thing today that I did yesterday, I didn't drink yesterday, so I'm gonna not drink today. So I'm out walking in San Francisco around these blocks, and I'm like, I just keep walking, just keep walking. And I kept walking until I stopped in my tracks and thought, I would know, and my higher power would know. If I truly want to have this relationship with my higher power, and I truly have faith that my higher power exists, then he will know. And I will know. And am I going to be able to live with myself? Am I going to be able to go home and face my kids and my boyfriend, knowing that I did this? And the answer was no. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. So that it was, I guess in a way, I finally answered the question that I had posed to myself, which was, would anybody know? I wasn't even asking myself the question. I was more telling myself nobody would know. Nobody would know. And then it shifted to a question, would anybody know? Would anybody know? How could it be that anybody would know? And then I finally answered that question after walking around the block 3 times, I think. I think it was 3 times that I walked around. It was a big, gigantic block. I must have walked, you know, over a mile, probably going around and around. And so I answered that question. I would know, and my higher power would know. And I was lucky enough to be in the program long enough that I had built a just strong enough of a relationship or faith in a higher power that I had that answer, that I believed that, okay, if I'm doing this higher power thing, he's gonna know. And I'm not gonna lie to him. I want to be honest. So that's really what got me through. And I ended up stopping at a restaurant that only had a bar where you could sit. There wasn't a lot available where I was walking. So I sat at the bar and I ordered uh, a hot fudge sundae, and they brought it to me in a martini glass, and it was gigantic, and it made me so happy. And I ate the entire thing, and everybody at the bar was looking at me like, what's up with this chick? But I was really, really happy. I was proud of myself. And it was a great way for me to celebrate all that I had done that week professionally. So hopefully that experience helps other people to answer that question, to know that it's not true that nobody would know. It's not true. Um, yeah. So next, I mean, I think it's important to, if you're traveling with people, let somebody you're traveling with know that you are a recovering alcoholic. I get it if that's not reasonable. If you're traveling with for work and you're going to be with people, clients or something like that, I get it that that's not always possible. But if you feel brave enough, if you feel that it is possible, it really takes a big load, I think, off of your shoulders to have somebody with you that knows your battles, knows what's really going on with you. Some other advice would be practicing saying no. I really did this early on in sobriety. I sat down and thought about all the different answers that I could give if somebody offered me a drink. And And what I ended up coming up with, and I still say it a lot of times, but I only say this instead of I'm in recovery, because when you say I'm in recovery, I feel like it brings the conversation down. I'm afraid that people feel sorry for me or something. So anyway, I just say no, thank you. I don't drink. I enjoy alcohol way too much. That's what I usually say. And sometimes they laugh, sometimes they don't care because they're trying to get their beer open as quick as possible, and they're not even listening to me. So, and then again, like I said back when we were talking about airports, focus on food. When you travel, this introduction to non-alcoholic beverages and food really has been an adventure for me. I had an eating disorder when I was drinking. I barely ate food when I was drinking. So putting the alcohol down and starting to actually eat and drink things, I mean, the flavors, I taste so much flavor and textures in things that I never did. When I was drinking, I was eating to survive. That was it. I did not want to eat. I was not interested in eating. It didn't taste good, like nothing. I didn't care about eating at all. And when you travel as a recovering alcoholic, it is such an opportunity to enjoy a culinary experience. I don't care where you're going. It's just exciting to get a good meal wherever you are. And I just enjoy it. I've gotten a whole new love of food. And now that I'm medically retired, that's what we're calling it. I even more so have been spending a lot of time, as you know, in the kitchen, and I'm really enjoying making food and exploring different flavors and textures. And I'm learning a lot by just um, not eating to live anymore, eating because it is something to enjoy. It's a hobby, it can be something that's really fulfilling and in so many ways. Learning about different cultures through food, that's been really enjoyable. And my husband is Persian. So I really didn't even like Persian food until I got sober. As funny as that is, and Indian food and all of these things. So I've done a lot of shifting over to a food centered like focus when I'm traveling somewhere. So, as some additional tips for traveling, I've said it. I'm going to say it again. I think I've said it 3 times already, so I'm going to say it for the 4th time. Keep in touch with your support network, regular check-ins. That means you can call people all day long, wherever you are, whenever you need it. Like, just check in and say, I just wanted to hear your voice. Hey, I just want to check in. I am walking to my hotel room, something like that. Um, Pack recovery materials. I always bring some book with me. Even though I do everything for the most part on Audible now, I always liked to have my big book in my suitcase. It's big. I think they have lots of other pieces of literature that might be a little more reasonable to travel with, but I don't even open it. I just like to have it beside me as a source of strength and inspiration, as a reminder of what I'm doing, like why I chose this path and what I can gain from being sober where I am, where my feet are right now. And if that's on a trip, then there's probably even more that I can get out of that trip sober than I would have if I was drinking. So set clear intentions for your trip, for your sobriety. And I heard something really cool this morning, and that was that one guy or gal in sobriety said that before they go on a trip, they do a step one to be reminded why life was unmanageable before they got sober. And I think that's such a great idea. Call your sponsor and walk through a step one. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best thing I've heard about how to prepare yourself for a trip. And remember that like every trip you go on sober is a freaking milestone. It is worth celebrating for sure. It's intimidating. It feels risky, but with the right preparation, you can cultivate a mindset that is seeking like an enriching and fulfilling experience on your trip, not uh, being cautious, being, of course, having a healthy fear, but not feeling like you're hiding behind corners, afraid that alcohol is going to jump out at you. So go in it prepared, start the whole trip differently, travel differently, pack differently, use a different suitcase. That's what I did. I tried to make it feel like a different experience entirely. I'm not traveling the same way that I used to. I'm doing everything differently. As much as I can separate myself from that old version Rachel ver, Rachel version 1.0 that used to drink in those airports and get just completely sideways in there. I mean, I can't even, I have so many memories of it and it just feels very icky when I remember it. Um, but sobriety is the foundation of all of your opportunities, and protecting it is the most important thing. Without sobriety, you may not even have the opportunity to travel in the first place. So don't forget, we're going to end with this. When you travel, say hi to a stranger, because that is our listener challenge for the month. So we're coming around full circle. So thank you so much for joining me today on Recovery Daily Podcast. Tomorrow is the 4th of July. I'm not going to record tomorrow. I'm going to give myself a break. Know that that I'm hopefully feeling well. I do not look at fireworks. I'm gonna just remember what fireworks looked like. And my daughter is showing up in about an hour, and I'm going to spend some time with her. So for all of you who are celebrating the 4th of July, who are traveling due to the holiday, stay safe, stay sober, and I will talk to you not tomorrow, but the next day.